Hi everyone, time for a review of Twin Fantasy, Will's new album over here, essentially being a full re-recording and a reassembly of his biggest and most popular Bandcamp release, Twin Fantasy. Now, despite the fact that I really enjoy Will's music and I have a lot of respect for where he came from, Twin Fantasy is an album that I've never quite been able to appreciate. Sure, while it is a Bandcamp classic, the recording for me has always just been way too chaotic, way too messy to really like all the way through. So he comes back with this new version of Twin Fantasy, this reimagined, re-recorded version of Twin Fantasy, and for me personally, it's pretty much improvements on all fronts. I feel like I am now able to enjoy this album as the diamond in the rough that it is. If you enjoyed the instrumentals on Teens of Denial, you are going to enjoy the instrumentals on this album. They are a few degrees noisier by comparison, but I think that was mostly Will trying to do his best to sure improve the work of art that he's made here, but also stay true to the original piece. He pays homage to lo-fi aesthetics while pretty much putting together a series of tracks that are very well assembled. And the end result in a way is kind of anachronistic. It's weird to listen to and perceive this album coming after all the work that he's done up until this point. Twin Fantasy isn't nearly as instrumentally ambitious. I find the songs on Teens of Denial to be assembled a bit more smoothly, and personally I find his lyrics to be more eccentric, hilarious, with these very vivid descriptions of emotions and scenarios that he's moving through. I just feel like with his latest material we get a more detailed and vivid image and character portrait of the person whose personality and experiences are fueling these songs. What continues to remain true about Twin Fantasy is that it is a difficult album, drowning in a sad chaos of sexual confusion, love, drugs, and youth. The opening track to this thing is a roaring, exciting song that really kind of sets the tone for the entire record, following cuts that are a bit more measured and based around a more simple verse-chorus-verse format. Tracks like Sober to Death, incredibly catchy, super compelling, interesting tune as well about essentially misery-loving company. The song Cute Thing has turned into one of the most adorable tracks on the entire record. In fact, I will say I kind of miss the nervous energy in Will's voice that was on the first version of the record, but the pulsating ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding synthesizers and the very well-executed vocal harmonies that kind of bleed into each other really chaotically are a very nice swap. The song Bodies features all of these echo splash sequence beats. In comparison with Teens of Denial and nearly everything Will has done so far, this is a pretty danceable record. A very physical and visceral album despite just how sad a lot of the emotions going into it are. It's kind of about giving into this carefree, freewheeling, youthful energy. Then with Nervous Young Inhumans we get yet another killer driving drum beat, very sharp synth lead. We do have a bit of an outro monologue that in my opinion goes a little long, but I actually preferred the previous monologue. The song itself is pretty meta, and I'm loving this new version of High to Death, which in comparison with the old one is so much trippier and very psychedelic and weird. I love the return of the Stop Smoking melody. Of course you get these multifaceted monsters on the album as well. I'm feeling a decent to strong 8. Maud Grove, Maud Grove, Maud Grove.